What's up, guys? Welcome to the Livingston Unfiltered podcast, where we talk about people, politics, and the local going ons. Today, we have a very special guest. She's a wife, a mom, a grandma, an entrepreneur, and she is the mean and nasty chair of the Livingston County Republican Party. Let's welcome Deb Drick. So Deb, the Livingston County Republican Chair, but even before that, we're a wife, we're a mom,
Mm-hmm.
grandma,
Yep.
and entrepreneur.
Yep.
Right on. So you grew up in Howell. We've had that conversation.
Yes, I moved to Howell in 51 years ago. I grew up in Howell Township,
Wow.
and when I was 14, so I just told you how old I am. So, um, uh, I moved from Westland,
Okay.
right in the middle of middle school. That was fun.
So many people do.
Yeah, well,
Jenny,
and I moved from Westland where everything was, within a bike ride to 10 acres in the middle of nowhere. So it was a little bit of a culture shock, but
was it with your parents' transition?
oh yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my father took a sales job, and his territory was most of, from Midland down.
Okay.
And so this was much more central
Nice.
to his territory.
So when you moved out here, where'd you move to? Northtown, Southtown? That's the big division line, right? And whether you're a north of town person or a south of town person.
Oh, it was Howell Township, so it was northwest of town. Yes.
Yeah, you told me
Over
that.
behind the airport, yeah.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Like 2 houses down where Rob Spalding lives now.
Yeah. The new Howell Township supervisor.
Yep.
Jake and I had just talked about him.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, he's well qualified for that role, so I'm sure he'll do real well. He's got the temperament, he's got the experience, and he's very well liked, very well thought of.
Yeah.
So he's starting there with a clean slate, and hopefully we can have some of the a little more calm as opposed to the,
all the hubbub and drama.
Yeah, the drama. That's the word.
He is, we know Rob personally, and for sure he has a pure heart. He is the type of guy that is not just gonna pick sides or, like we said, put a flag in the ground. He'll listen to the whole situation, and everybody might walk away mad, but he'll do what's right for everybody.
And you know what? You can't expect any better than that for a township supervisor or a politician at all. So
For sure.
if they're telling you the truth and they're doing the right thing and they're transparent about it, even if you disagree with them, it's livable. It's my experience is when they're not telling you what's going on, or they're not transparent, or
Absolutely.
they're doing things for their own purposes, or they're worse, they're not explaining why they're voting the way they vote. That's when problems happen.
Right.
So.
Just being self-serving. We don't need those kind of people.
No,
No, not at all.
we don't need any more of them. That's for sure.
So when I did the introduction, I recorded it before you got here, and I described you as being the mean and nasty Republican County Chair. What does the Republican County Chair do?
Well, like any other, head of any other large organization, I heard a lot of cats. Basically, it's my job to kind of put legs to the goals that's set up by the party executive committee. Now, I do it very structured. I have the last 3 years, I have facilitated a strategic plan within the party.
Smart.
And that gets everybody's input. It gets it all on paper. And it's our marching orders for the year. What are we going to build? What do we need to work on? What did we accomplish? And we can set that aside now or let it keep running. We do that every January. I just did the third one here last January, and we have our marching orders. So it's my job to put legs to all that stuff. So, for example, in 2025, one of the goals was improved communication between the party and the party members and between the party and the community. And so I sought out ideas, and one of the members gave me a great idea. Why don't you host a podcast? So that's how our podcast got started.
We've got that. We're going to pull it up
Oh,
and
okay.
run a little bit of it.
Okay.
But before we get there, so Livingston County, in a large part, is a Republican, a conservative county. And
Yes.
so it's pretty neat that you have that role as the county chair.
Mhm.
Would you say that all the Republican members are identical? do they all
No.
have their marching orders? Are they all
No.
those right side,
No,
right wing fanatics?
no.
How does it work?
Well, both sides, and as you saw, if you paid attention to the Democrat convention last weekend, I learned new terms afterwards.
Oh, good.
In Republicans, the division, if you are super far conservative, super far right, very narrow walking space, that's considered your patriot or your, super far right person. Then we have what the patriots refer to as the establishment, and that's the people that's a little bit more flexible on things. They've been around a long time, and they understand that sometimes you have to, a super far right candidate is not going to win a statewide
Right.
race unless you're against the super far left, which rarely happens. So, so those are establishment, and the patriots have problems with the establishment. They claim they're not Republican enough, and
Yeah.
the establishment people say you patriots are unrealistic about your expectations. And there's a little truth in both of that, but
Sure.
it's my observation that new and fresh ideas will just spin and go nowhere,
Right.
and institutional knowledge will just stay rutted. Working the two together is that's kind of my role. I'm trying to take the two different sides
Right.
and kind of work them together. Now, the Democrats, I just learned this term. They have what you call the progressives, which would be our patriots, and they have the centrist or the corporate Democrats. Who heard that? I never heard that before. All right, good. So it's good to know we're not the only one that's, but yeah, there's a wide range of republicanism, and republicanism really belongs to just a few basic principles. Okay. Less government,
Yep.
lower taxes,
Yep.
self-responsibility, fiscal responsibility, and the free market. That, if you believe in those things, contrary to what anybody else has told you, you're a Republican.
Right.
All right, Democrats, and this is from their words, their websites, they believe in more government. They believe in bigger government, and that bigger government should take care of more people, where Republicans believe in self-responsibility and take care of yourself. So you'll see Democrats tend to grow government, grow services,
Yep.
and then they charge taxes, the higher taxes for that amount, because they feel more people are being taken care of.
And you got to support more policies and programs and
But they feel they
offices.
don't care as long as every child is fed and that's fine. All the stuff goes. A Republican, you'll see Republicans Democrats will build welfare for people.
Yep.
And they claim Republicans build corporate welfare. They call it corporate welfare. It's basically tax business incentives. And of course, the Democrats sell that as, they're giving corporate welfare to their rich buddies. They're making the rich richer. No.
Right,
If you give tax incentive, that means more, the business can grow, more jobs, and then more people take care of themselves. So
Right.
that's how we believe.
Yeah, I think that both sides tend to do some exaggeration and blow it all out of
We don't.
control. Right. Yeah. And the interesting part, and I know that you're working on this as well, is young people like Jay
Mm-hmm.
are starting to get involved, and
Mhm.
whether they're Republican or Democrat, they are getting out there and getting in the community. We
Yeah.
had the Yarber gal
Right.
who came out and did the Charlie Kirk production in town, which I thought was really neat. There was a ton of people there.
There was over 2,000, I think, what the estimate was.
So is there an age range if somebody wanted to get involved in politics? Or
We have
join?
young Republicans and we have, Republicans. So we have, if you're under, I don't know, a youth Republican would be under 18. Now I'm trying to start a kind of not a spin-off group, but a segment, I guess, of young professionals. That would be Republicans in their 20s and maybe early 30s or mid 30s that are professionals that they feel awkward or they don't feel they have anything common coming into a room with a bunch of people my age,
Right.
into the party, which is, predominantly a little older. So, I'm trying to kind of grow that right now. That was just this year's message, and in the middle of midterm elections, we tried to do our growing in between the election years, but
Right.
I'm still, I'm a little nutty, and I just look for more things to do. So
That's all right.
so
What, Jake, what's your thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I've been to a couple meetings, and there was younger people there that were like my age, and I'm about 30, and lots of learning. I feel like after you get out of high school and you're not taking like a government class, that information kind of disappears, and so it's good to step back into that and learn and be more involved.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that's in part the Charlie Kirk effect, right?
Charlie Kirk and Trump. I mean, Trump
Right,
pulled in a record amount of younger people into the nation's voting booths for him. So,
for sure.
I feel like, it's funny because I had a grandson of mine ask me, why does Trump tweet? And this was his first term. Why does he tweet like he does?
Right,
He says, I get his policies, but why does he tweet like that? And he said, at the time I was working for a state rep, and he said, when you put things on Facebook or Twitter for your state rep, they're always professional, they're always right. I said, right, but you just said it. That was me.
right,
People think it's her, but it was me writing all this stuff.
right,
And I said, do you have any doubt whatsoever that it's not him?
right.
I said, for the first time, it's actually him.
Yeah,
And it's him because a
Right.
speechwriter wouldn't sound like that. So,
right.
there's maybe a method to his madness, but we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow it.
And I'm sure you will. You do a great job.
No, thank you.
What led you to serve in that position?
Oh, that was a left curve. Yeah, we had some turnover that I sort of came into at the end. And a new chair took over. Rob Rodriguez took over in January of 24.
Okay.
And he had Jessica Bearfield as his vice chair, and he asked me to be the elections chair, and I agreed to do that. And so it was my job to pay attention to candidates. I started with 30 empty seats. 30 seats that were
Wow.
open in the community, township supervisors, township trustees, all kinds of stuff. And I had no bench.
Right.
So it's like, no wonder you pass it off to me. You didn't want it.
Right.
That's a huge, I was a little panicky because I had no bench. So I thought, I'm a trainer by trade. I'm a certified master trainer. I can put a training together for just about anything. And I've run enough campaigns that I know how to campaign.
Yeah.
And so I also know kind of what your mindset needs to be. And I'm able to advise pretty accurately. You're ready for this or you're not ready for this. And I have a little bit of a reputation for being very honest about
Yes.
things. I
Yeah.
won't sugarcoat it.
Yep.
Be polite, be respectful, but no,
Right.
tell the truth. So I thought I'm going to have a community conversation, and maybe I'll get 10 or 12 people that will come, and maybe 3 of them will not be ready, and maybe 3 of them will think of it, and maybe 4 or 5 of them will actually do it. And I ended up with 45 people at that training.
Wow.
I know. I was so excited. So
And how'd they do?
they did really well. I had 45, and some of them decided, nope, this is not the right time for me, which was the point of that training. I didn't want anybody jumping in and bailing out.
Right.
So I ended up having a second one because there were people that really wanted. So I filled that 30.
That's
I could
amazing.
not believe it, but we got the 30 filled.
Good job.
And I think everybody that followed that training plan won, and didn't just win, won at the top of their ticket. So if you want to know who got trained, go look at the tickets. Yeah, everybody else is 400, 500, 800, so.
I ran before for Cohocton Township Supervisor.
Oh, did you?
Against
Okay.
the incumbent.
Against Mark?
And
Okay.
Mark's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
He does a good job for Cohocton Township, but it just wasn't my time. But man, did I learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy getting
Yeah.
into politics.
It is. And, I'm that's the nice thing about this class, because it's very to the point. There's not a lot of sugarcoating, but when you leave, you understand what you're going to get into, and you're either ready for it or you're not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be grueling, but, things that people don't think of, like first thing I say to them, if your spouse or significant other is not 100% behind you, there's the door.
Right.
Don't waste any more time, because that is the most miserable time of your life if you don't have your spouse behind you on this.
It's the same thing in real estate. Jake and I, as you know, both
Mhm.
full-time, sell all kinds of houses,
Mhm.
but a lot of it is evenings. A lot of it is weekends. A lot of it is spending time away from family, selling houses. And if your spouse isn't all in,
That's right.
you might as well
Or
forget
politics.
it. Yeah.
Even Jay,
Yeah.
if I wasn't behind that,
Yep. That's a good segue. Jake, do you got that last county commissioners meeting?
Yeah.
All right. So let's play just a little clip here, and it's only the beginning of the meeting where they're all logging in, but the county
Okay.
commissioners meeting runs amazing. Just their respect, their
Good
courtesy.
evening.
they know
This
what they're
board
doing.
meeting
up
is
They
there.
know
called to
what they're
order.
doing.
May we have a roll
And
call, please?
out of the 1, 2, 3,
Commissioner
4,
Fiani,
5,
Here.
6, 7, 8,
Commissioner Drick,
9
Here.
county
Commissioner
commissioners there.
Halserman,
Here.
You have a
Commissioner
husband up
Domas,
there, don't
Yeah.
you?
I do.
Commissioner Sample,
He's
Here.
in the
Commissioner
vice chair
Nakagiri,
seat
Here.
there.
Commissioner Deaton,
Here.
He
Commissioner
was in the chair
Panovich,
seat
Here.
last
Commissioner
year, and now
Gross.
he's in the
Here.
seat.
Form.
They do
Okay.
usually 2 years, and then they flip it around.
All those
Nice.
in
It's
favor,
a lot of
please say
work.
aye.
So you
Aye.
say
Aye. All
fourth
those
from the
opposed?
left.
The
Correct.
agenda is approved 9-0. At this time, we have the first call of the public. If you wish to address the board, you will have 3 minutes.
Yes.
Do we have any cards this evening?
Those
Yes, we
nine
do.
men, and you
Lori
would think
Cowan
that
from
they all
Dexter
go bowling
Township
and have
and
drinks together and
Stephanie
everything
Booth.
else. That's
Yep.
the way they behave. They don't.
Right.
They have personalities that rub each other wrong, and they don't behave that way,
Lori
or at least
Cowan,
not in public.
formerly from Unadilla and now residing in Dexter Township.
All right.
So I'm here.
So it would be very easy for me to come to the conclusion, well, wait a minute. Deb is the Republican county chair. Her husband is a county commissioner. How do you divide and not have influence on those two things, since your
I
husband
don't know
and
that
wife?
I don't know that we do divide it. I mean, not to 100%.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not involved in anything that he doesn't that he's not supposed to. It's not like he's in a executive meeting or there's a lawsuit. I'm not in on that.
Okay.
But if there's a big issue in the community, sometimes he bounces stuff off me, or I'll hear about something and say, "Hey, you guys might want to know this is coming up." But I do that also with the other commissioners. There's many
Right.
commissioners that I'm on the phone with, and
Yep.
they call, they hear something. Hey, do you know anything about this? Yes, I might, or no, I don't, or I'll go dig and then I'll get back with them. So, but I don't just do that with commissioners. I have township level super, at all positions calling me. I have library boards, I have school boards, I have
Wow.
state reps that call about situations and questions or whatever. So
Right.
for me, my role, my overall, the Republican Party's overall role, support elected Republicans, get Republicans elected, support them when they're there.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, my husband got to be a commissioner long before I became chair.
Yep.
I started as the elections chair, and then Rob could not do a next term.
Right. Okay.
And Jessica did not want to do a next term. She had other things. So that left me. So he said, yeah, well, I mean, other people might have. It's not like I was the only one. As a matter of
Right.
fact, I think somebody else wanted to, but I was kind of in on the improvements that were being made so I could continue to further it.
Okay.
And so I just could build on it. So I said, okay, I didn't want to. Rob said he would.
Yeah.
He would be my chair. So,
Nice.
yeah. So,
Yeah, and Rob seems
but
like a
that's
real...
it. I mean, that's what we do. We get Republicans elected and we support them once they're there.
So there is some influence, but you're not going to tell Jay what to do.
Oh, God, no.
Very good.
No, Jay doesn't. Jay is very, very much more reserved, and I'm much more outgoing.
Yep.
And I think that leads to a thought that maybe because I'm outspoken when I hear something, I try to be respectful. But I will
Same.
say so.
Yep.
But that I think that leads people incorrectly to think that I've got the pants on or something in the family, and
Right.
Jay's not afraid of me at all. Let me tell you, Jay has no fear. And we don't battle things out. Jay's a very logical person, and I've learned over the years, it's he responds to logic very well. So we'll just talk about stuff.
He's a
And
smart
he is a
dude.
very intelligent
Yep.
man
Yeah.
until he walks into a kitchen. Oh my God! Then he becomes Forrest Gump all of a sudden.
So it's
But
gumbo.
yeah,
He
so
likes gumbo.
no, yeah. It's like I think he can do hot dogs. That's about it. So yes, but anyway, no, he's a very, very smart guy, and so we can have good and it's nice because he approaches me from a different I'm very right brain, very creative.
Yep.
See the big picture, see how this where Jay will focus on one thing,
Yeah.
and he'll make sure that one thing is perfect. But sometimes he'll come to me and say, all right, make sure this is what I want. Does this fit in? Oh, you might need a segue from here to here.
Right.
So we balance each other out that way.
That's
So,
awesome.
but then hey, I'm thinking about doing this with the party, and then he'll think about it and come back and say, all right, don't miss this. You're right.
Man,
Ooh,
I
that
did
could have
miss
been in
it.
trouble.
Right,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know, because it's a detail that I might have missed. So
Yep.
he does not fear me in any way, shape, or form.
It's probably a great balance.
It is a good balance.
So I watched the podcast last night,
Oh, fun.
The Right Side,
Mm-hmm.
and there was pretty interesting guests. You'll have to go to The Right Side on YouTube. Anybody who hasn't
Yep.
seen it, go check
YouTube,
it
The
out.
Right Side - Livingston.
In fact, here's a little clip of it. Jason's
Oh,
gonna
okay.
bring out.
All right.
And it's The Right Side Livingston.
Yep, at The Right Side - Livingston. We started out, I was going to be hoping, I'd have been happy with 200 people in a month watch that. And we've already hit, I think, 15,000 for the year views.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why
I
should
know,
you
I know.
join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common
We
sense.
do.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
I just wanted to do local news, and I wanted to give the commissioners, the state reps, anybody that the media did it wrong. I
Yep.
wanted them to give them an opportunity to say,
Yeah.
here's what really happened. Just unedited, uncensored.
It's cool.
And so, and it's now statewide.
Well, you've got
So I
the
got everybody.
sheriff, you've got the
Mhm.
prosecutor, you've had people talk about the judges. You bring on just normal people who have had an issue
Mhm.
and dive into it and
Yep.
explore it. And I think that's really interesting.
Well, in the current Republican attorney general candidate, he announced on my podcast.
Right on.
So once he won at the convention, he right away came right back and said, "All right, I'm announcing now that I'm the." So, and he's terrific.
Is
He
it-
is going to be a great attorney general. So, but yeah, I mean, I look at most of the time, like last night, it was the Brighton Bond. Okay, nobody really from outside the county was on that, but
right.
I have Doug Lloyd, I have Anthony Ferlini coming as the Secretary of State candidate coming on. I'll have people from all over the state on that one. So
That's so what political issues are coming up that you feel are like key and going to be a firestorm
okay.
in our very near future?
Well, we've got, I mean, obviously the midterms are just, huge.
Because why? What does that do?
This to Michigan is what 2 years ago was to the nation. So we have a whole new opportunity to completely flip our state from mostly Democrat to all Republican.
Okay.
So we have, and the unpredictable factor right now is governor. Although on the Democrat side, there's a widespread belief Jocelyn Benson is going to win the Democrat nod.
Okay.
And of course, you got Mike Duggan in there as the independent.
Yep.
And our hope is that the Democrats get split that way.
Okay.
We have 6 or 7 candidates now that are, the Republicans do. So I don't know where that's going to go. I mean, when I look at who I like and I look at who's most electable, and I will take who's most electable every time.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what I like if
Okay.
that person cannot beat. But having said that about the Democrats, last weekend's convention,
Dana Nessel. No?
worse. I mean, I was expecting, we were expecting kind of the more, I guess
Middle of the
we
road.
learned them. They're called corporate,
Okay.
but or senators, but they're still pretty far left. But Kieran McDonald out of Oakland County, I don't know that anybody that would have said she wasn't going to win. So when Eli Savitt out of I think out of Washtenaw County won, and he's super far left.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. So and then we got, instead of Barb Byram, who's the Ingham County clerk for Secretary of State, they picked Garland Gilchrist. That's the lieutenant governor with zero personality. I'd like to send you a picture to show up there. I have a picture. No, a picture of Garland Gilchrist.
I saw it.
You saw it? Yes.
Yeah.
That needs to come up.
In drag?
No, he's not in drag. He's,
Well,
he's
wasn't
with
somebody...
he's with a
Yeah.
teacher
Yes.
that was a male that had gone through, and I mean, it's go on my you can go on my Facebook and see it. I think I put it up there. But anyway, it is or on the Republican one, whichever, it's on one of those. But he is super, super far left too.
Yeah.
And he is, I mean, in my opinion, he has no personality.
Okay.
He's, I mean, I don't know why, but for us, for the Republicans, we're over here going wahoo, because,
Yep.
in a statewide race, most people believe that Michigan being a purple state means it's half Republican and half Democrat. Not so much anymore. It
Right.
hasn't been that way in a long time.
Yep.
It's really about a third, maybe a little less than a third Republican, a little less than a third Democrat, and the middle third plus
Yep.
is independent or swing voters. And so they're figuring out pretty quickly that Republicans and Democrats cannot win.
Right.
They just cannot win on their own. You've
Yep.
got to be able to take more of those swing voters and independents away from the other side.
I
And
heard
those
that.
swing voters and independents tend not to like what they call progressives and what we call patriots. They like that middle of the road, the centrist or the establishment, if you will. But so what they pick, we've got more centrist people, or establishment on our side. We've got a
Yeah.
little bit more moderate candidates. They're Republican. They're hard-nosed Republican, but
Yep.
they're not super, super far, where their candidates are way over there.
Yep.
We did that in 2022 with Christina Caramo and Matt DePerno, and
Okay.
got our butts handed to us.
Huh.
Because again, I mean, one would argue Dana Nessel and Jocelyn Benson are kind of far left too, but
Right.
Jocelyn Benson for Secretary of State was not, as Christina Caramo was doing, telling people that yoga was the work of the devil. So okay, well, you decide which one's more further.
I think most reasonable people, and I don't pay attention statewide like I probably should.
Right.
I'm more local, but I think most people that I talk to, friends, relatives, all of it, Democrat, Republican, find themselves in the middle. So that structure of what you've described is right on.
It is right on for the state. Now, having said that, locally,
Yep.
you have pockets of super far red.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Wolford is what I would consider very, very, very red.
Yeah.
And he easily and handily won it, and he'll continue to hold that seat because that's a red area.
Right.
But if he were to suddenly try to do Congress with Ingham County and maybe Washtenaw County, he would have to change his approach a little bit.
A little too Christian, a little too
well,
conservative.
Well, you don't walk up there, you don't go knocking on doors in Washtenaw County with a save the babies and a 2A button on your shirt. You're not gonna. And
So,
it's
Brian Ignatowski.
Brian Ignatowski has heard this lecture from me many times. Talk about it. Talk about those neutral topics. Talk about insurance. Talk about education. Talk about fixing the damn roads.
Right.
Do not, talk about things that center group wants to talk about.
He is a good
He's a good
guy.
candidate. He's working very hard. He's
Yep.
listening. He's doing the. Let me give him a shameless plug here. This Saturday, he is kicking off his walk days.
I heard.
10 a.m. at the Victory Center, and yours truly will be there at 8:30. Anybody that wants to walk can come at 8:30 and have one of the best breakfasts you'll ever have. So
All right.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm cooking.
Did you find the photo or no?
I did not, unfortunately. There's a lot of photos on
Yeah,
there. I went to both pages, but
This one has got some. This one's got some oomph behind it. Trust me. I'll bring it up and let's just put it in the camera.
I don't know. Should we keep it rated G?
No, it's rated G. It's just rated stupid, is what it is. Gosh, I mean, it's everything that needs to be covered is covered, but
if you send it to Aaron on Facebook, I can pull it up.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
Yeah, I
believe
don't-
that somebody would do that.
oh my gosh, yeah, go ahead and send it to whoever you want. Yeah, so
So, that bond, WHMI has a podcast, and I saw Roger and somebody else
Yeah,
on there
yeah.
talking about the bond. So that's one side of it to get it passed. And then, of course, Conley last night
Conley and
talking about,
Trombley have been really digging into this. Bill Trombley, who's another former member. Did you get it?
yeah, he's
So,
the attorney in Fowlerville.
Bill Trombley?
Yeah, is
I
that
don't
right?
know. I don't know.
Okay.
So, but they've been, I mean, they're both very interested. So, they both been digging into this. So John is adamant that those numbers are inflated. And, as I was listening last night and I was listening to them justify a brand new, the exact words, watch the podcast. You don't need to take my word for it.
Right.
The exact words were a state-of-the-art brand new kitchen will help improve the health and learning of the students. And I thought, what?
Right.
And John was saying, that, and they threw something back at him and said, well, you supported a bond in 2019. And he said, well, it was 30,000 or 30 million. And he
Okay.
goes, I said I could not support that. But if they were to add STEM centers in every building and make it 60 million, I would get behind it. So he said, I don't mind that stuff if it is reasonable and if it's putting things in place that will bring test scores up and will educate students. But these are facilities and fields and state-of-the-art kitchens and
Right. Yeah, and we've got
yeah.
a huge bond in Howell that they passed not
Yeah.
too long ago for new facilities. And we're watching the construction, and it's, kind of iffy at best from what I've seen just driving around. Again, not sticking my nose too deep into things.
Right. I know Northwest School is being completely redone.
Yep.
And it's about, I don't know, maybe a third of the way done, but it's going to be a massive place from what I can see.
Yeah, and there's been issues with that all the way through. So I think that's why the progression is so slow.
Okay.
City of Howell has also passed road fund bonds.
Ah,
And
yes.
so that's, that's stuck in the mud too. I won't ask you to comment on that too much. Of course, I've got my
I'm a
nose right
Republican.
in
I
it.
don't like bonds.
Okay.
I mean, there may or may not be a time for them, but and so I don't think they should be outlawed. But I think that I am in full agreement with the House that they should not, the legislature that is trying to get a bill, I don't know if it'll go anywhere, that say no more bonds in May.
Yep.
Bonds should be in November, and then you get a full count because it's a very small percentage in May that comes out and vote, and it's a very small percentage that makes a decision for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm not of the opinion that bonds should be outlawed, but I am of the opinion they should be in November where everybody gets a say.
Okay.
And of course.
So, voter ID, is there something on
Oh,
the
yes,
ballot
there's a
coming up
ballot
with that?
proposal. Yes, it's called citizens only voting, and it basically mandates and will put into the Constitution that you must show ID. And people mistakenly say, well, it's that way now. No, many don't do it. I mean,
And from my understanding, you can sign a waiver there.
that's right.
Right?
So,
And
yep,
have
I
it.
am
We've
who I
done
am.
that. And when my dad ran for supervisor, I took a buddy in when I was out showing houses, and they said no, and then they said, well, just sign the waiver and we'll let
Right.
you vote. And I don't know. There's two arguments on either side of that, and it's kind of hard to get through the mud to
All right,
figure out what's
what are
accurate
the
and correct.
arguments that you're hearing?
That ID is already required in order to vote. So when I go in to vote now, I lay my license down,
Mhm.
they verify it, they fill out the slip and hand it to me to
Mhm.
vote. But then we've also gone through this with the affidavit
That's right.
that you sign where you don't need an ID. And
Mhm.
so who's right?
Oh, it's the second one.
Okay.
You're supposed to show, but there was amendments done by when the Democrats had 2 years to themselves, 100% up there. They get all kinds of wacky things.
Yep.
One of them was basically say you don't have to prove it. You just sign a waiver and say you are. Oh boy, well there's confidence for you in a bucket. So anyway, they know it's so you can get away with a waiver. This will remove this. This will require ID, and it doesn't have to be a driver's license. It could be a Michigan State ID. If you don't drive, then you can get a Michigan State ID
Sure.
same way as you could anything else, and it fits every ID that that this. But these same people that, they can't show ID. How do they open up a bank account without
Right.
ID?
How do you fly?
How do you fly without ID? How do you get a driver's license? Or even if you don't have a driver's license, how do you do anything else? You
Right.
have to have an ID to buy certain things over 18. You
Yep.
have to have identification. So you cannot function without some sort of ID.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true.
anyway,
And now even to fly, it has to be
a
like
certain
a
it has to be
verified
the
ID.
yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So
we've run into that at the
Yep.
airport.
Mhm.
I heard that they're doing some redistricting in Pennsylvania.
mm-hmm.
Can you explain districting? And is
Well,
there any?
I have a very basic understanding. Every 10 years, I think it is, when the census comes out,
Yep.
there's the opportunity for redistricting, and a committee is formed that sort of goes over. It's supposed to be half Republicans, half Democrats that do this. I know Livingston County got redistricted last time, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened there, because our county commissioners got all whacked up.
Mhm.
For 100 years, Jay was the commissioner for the city of Howell, Cohocton, and Howell Township.
Okay.
Right? Suddenly, he's commissioner for the city of Howell and Marion Township, and we got some other. I mean, everything's all like it used to be, whack, 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 whack. Big
Yeah.
lines or whatever. Now it's all over the place. So I don't know who did that, but
Hmm.
anyway, it is what it is. So we now have and also the state put the new 48th district in, which we now have our very first Democrat elected legislator there. So the one that
Oh.
Brian Ignatowski's taken over. So
Okay.
in every 10 years when the census comes out, they have an opportunity to redistrict. So I think our party has to put together like a
Strategic
redistricting
plan.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then it has to get approved. So I
Okay.
have to check and see how many years that's not that many yet. So it's maybe 5 years away still.
That's interesting. Jake, you got that, don't you?
I couldn't get it,
Couldn't get it.
unfortunately.
All right. Well,
Okay. You guys probably don't want to see it anyway.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think here's the
disgusting.
thing. I think it needs to be seen.
Yeah.
This is what your Secretary of State candidate
Right.
believes.
Yep.
Yep.
It needs to be out there.
I would definitely look that up, but
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
some
have
of our
interest in
views.
seeing that, but don't do it while kids are around as a
Yeah.
precautionary.
Okay. Oh,
Absolutely.
why? That's a school teacher.
Well, that's not a school teacher here.
Right.
So we just had that discussion about some of the protests out on the 23 bridge, and those people will say, well, we're told we're not welcome in this town. And we had boiled it down to the fact that it's not that you're not welcome,
Mhm.
it's just that you don't carry the same values. And there's a very big difference in that if you want to feel accepted
hmm
and be part of the community, or if you're just
Mhm.
here to cause chaos.
Well, we have a very for a very long time we have a trans member in our Republican group, and
Yep.
that individual is very well respected and treated very respectfully, and
Yeah.
that I mean, we don't get protests from that individual, and so I mean we like that person a lot, and
Yeah.
but the values are the values, and
Right.
why. Again, Republicans believe in self-responsibility. What happens in your bedroom, legal and consensual, I don't care.
Exactly.
I just
Yeah.
I don't want to shove down little kids' throats, but
Right.
okay.
Yep. That
I mean, I don't want straight sex shoved down little kids' throats.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, part of what appealed to us in coming and hearing and listening is, the Republican community is based on character. It's not
Mm-hmm.
based on who the loudest person is in the
No,
corner. So,
not anymore.
moving on from the current political issues,
Sure.
what's the party strategy? Turnout versus persuasion, biggest internal challenges, and then what keeps you up at night thinking
Oh my
about,
gosh.
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
politically, I'm going to have to manage this.
Well, the get out the vote is always the biggest. The underlying, I shouldn't say biggest. It's the underlying. It doesn't matter what else we're working on. Get out the vote is part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're working on fundraisers. What we do for Republicans is we provide a place to hold signs. So we have to pay rent on that place. We have Republican signs all over the place, so people can come pick up their Trump signs or their whatever governor candidate or their attorney general or whatever.
Sure.
We hold all the signs. We we create lit bags. All the candidates come over and drop their lid off, and we buy bags, and we sit and then we stuff them, and we have pizza nights where we stuff them. We do a mailing before the primary and before the general, and we tell people who our members are. Okay. And these are our members, and these are the ones that, you need to know. I went last night and I did a legal way. We did not do this last time because we were told legally we couldn't. But now I found the legal way to do it. We had two, the Supreme Court judges. They're nonpartisan. And we were told that we can't advertise them, but we can anyway, there's a way to do it. So we're going to put them on our mailing.
Oh, good.
People don't know who the Republicans are. They ought to know.
Yeah. And I'm surprised that posture is there, or that law is there, because it's the more information you get, the better decision you can make.
Well, and you can almost understand it in the circuit and the district court judges, but the Supreme Court judges, they're nominated at a political convention.
Right.
The Republicans nominate theirs, so why on earth do they not claim to be Republican or Democrat? When they're not, that's just the silliest thing I've ever heard of. So anyway, so what we're doing. So get out the vote. That's huge. So we encourage people to vote. We encourage people to become precinct delegates. By the way, anybody looking to be a precinct delegate, on April 30th, we're going to have an open house at the Victory Center. And it's going to be, I think, 6:00 or so. And come in and learn what the opportunities are. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to commit to anything. But a precinct delegate is kind of that entry level backbone of the party. And people don't know what it is, what it does, what the responsibilities are, what the opportunities are. And it could be as little or as much as you'd like. But, if I can, just a minute, let me kind of give you the structure of the party and how it works. You start off with, of course, you got the Republican National Party. Under that, each state has a state party. So we have a Michigan Republican Party. Underneath that, actually, we have districts, and they're congressional districts. So ours is the 7th, Tom Barrett's our congressman. Ours is the 7th congressional district, and it's composed of, I think, Shiawassee, Eaton, Ingham, Clinton, and Livingston counties. So roughly. So that's the 7th district. We have a 7th district chair. Underneath that, we have individual county chairs. Our role is really the county. The district chair takes care of the election of the congressman. And the state is supposed to help the governor, the U.S. Senate, that sort of thing, the state stuff. And then Republican, the national one, will come and help some of the congressional and the U.S. Senate and things like that. So, we have a little overlap. Like we help the Tom Barrett's, campaign, and we help. I'm putting on a large fundraiser for Doug Lloyd and Anthony Ferlini in July. So we do kind of, help them outside those roles. But the way we get picked, which is, I think, the most important thing, the point here, it starts off with your precinct delegates. You run for Howell Township precinct delegates, and you're elected. All right. Each township has, based on population, based on Republican votes, you get a slot of, it can be 2, it can be 10, it can be maybe not 10, 2 to 8, something like that.
I've seen it on the voter roll before. I'm thinking, who are these people and what are they running for?
That's a really good question. And it's probably one of the most important entry-level questions that can be asked. So you get elected. At that point, you are now a precinct delegate, and you have no elected authority. You have no rights outside a precinct delegate convention. So you don't have the right to talk about what's going on your roads or whatever, but you do have, there are conventions every other year. And this current one for the county will be up in December. Every other year, precinct delegates, there's, say, 500 of them in the county, will be asked, do you want to run for the executive committee? Executive committee and chair and vice chair and all that, it's a 2-year commitment. Do you want to run? So out of 500, I might get 40. And there's 20 positions to be voted in. So all precincts, they'll send it to me. I'll say, all right, I got 40 positions. I'll send out the 40 names, and then we'll have to have a convention. All delegates are welcome to come, and then they pick the executive committee. They vote.
Okay.
Whoever the highest vote getters are of the 40 or 50 or whatever of that 19 or 20 or whatever it is, they become the executive committee.
Let me back this up for a second. Just pause for a second.
Sure.
I sign up. Where am I going to this convention? And
you'll get notified as soon as you sign up. Everything comes to the county, so I get a list.
When you say convention,
a convention is like we usually have them at like Floodgate Church. We have it there.
Okay.
So it's just a big room. It has to be able to hold everyone
who signs up,
but
who's going to get voted
everybody possible. We have to have a room that holds 500.
So now,
even though 250 show up.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. And now I'm in the convention. And how would I get someone to vote for me? How would I build their confidence?
You would give me your name. I would send out a call to convention, and that would be an official email and an official postcard that you would get because you're a delegate.
Okay.
And it would say call to convention. If you wish to be part of the EC or the executive committee, you would tell me. You would either call me or email me and tell me that you want to be part of the EC. You'll have a deadline.
Do I walk on stage and make a big thing? Then how do they decide?
They have to figure it out. They have to reach out to you, or they have to, what I'll probably do, because I've never, I got in on the last one, right? So I've never been in charge. What I thought I would do is ask everybody that was interested to write a paragraph, and I'll put a spot on the website that people can just read about them.
Cool. Yeah.
That way you can read about who you want. But anyway, most of the time, you know who you want. It's new people that have never done it, I'm not sure.
Yep.
And they'll go to people they trust and say, who are you voting for? Give me some ideas. And, there's a lot of discussion. But, that can go either way. It depends on all the new delegates.
Right.
So then you get your executive committee is made up of half of it is the county of electeds.
Okay.
So the sheriff, the prosecutor, the 9 commissioners, the drain commissioner, the treasurer, the clerk, and the register of deeds.
All right.
That is half your EC. Your other half is voted in. So we got the statutory ones, and then we got the at large, and the at large are voted in.
Okay.
And so it's the exact same amount. So you that's your executive committee. The executive committee then, a month after they're elected, they elect a chair, a vice chair, a secretary and treasurer. They don't have to be members of the executive committee.
Okay.
They can be anybody. I was not a member of the executive committee. I got elected from that group.
Huh.
So I was elected, and then you have that's when you start your stuff. Now, that's in December. Come February or March, the same thing happens at the state. You get people in the county that are delegates, and they write and say, I want to go to state and vote for the chair of the state and vote for all those vice chairs.
Huh.
And so again, we have to have a convention, and we get all these people and say, all right, I've got 66 positions, and I've got 125 people that want to go. So top 66 get to go.
Right.
The next vote is for alternates.
That sounds like
so
fun.
it's a heck of a lot of work.
Yeah.
And we do that. Yeah. So we just did that for the convention to elect, as you know, or as maybe some people don't know, the primary is where Republicans fight Republicans, and so this August we have we'll have all the gubernatorial candidates run on both sides, and the winner will face each other off in November, right?
Yep.
That never happens as for Attorney General and Secretary of State. That's always chosen at a convention by the delegates.
No kidding.
Show me a primary we've ever voted on. No,
right.
You vote for the winner of the primary.
Right.
So we just had what's called an endorsement convention, and we did it earlier than August because we wanted our candidate to have more time to raise money and get their name out and stuff.
So now I'm a precinct delegate. Am I spending an hour a week? Am I spending 10 hours a week? 20 hours a week?
The very minimum job is to show up to 2 or 3 meetings a year and do your voting. Okay. You can decide to take it more, and if you just show up and vote and go home, you can. That's the minimum job. You may want to be part of the EC, and as a delegate, you can do that. If you might want to go to the state convention and vote for the Attorney General, and and if you get voted, you get to do that.
Okay.
Being a delegate I know I have a really sharp group, and Sharon Lolio and Connie Robinson and Marcia Dix. I have a Livingston County delegate training group, and they meet with them every so often, and they help them develop relationships. They help them learn procedures. They help them meet their elected officials.
Yep.
They help them, learn like what's going on, issues.
Yep.
So I've learned this. I know that I've seen chairs try to get people, I meet you, I'm going to try and get you I'm going to try and get you knocking doors. I'm going to try and get you on my thing.
Right.
I don't do that.
Right.
I got a better way.
Yeah.
For me, I try to get you educated, because the more you know, the more you're going to want to get involved.
For sure.
If you don't just bringing somebody out and saying, okay, would you sell shirts at this event? Or they don't see what they're doing and how it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But if I educate you and I tell you about what's happening in our community, and people worry about who's the president, but they don't understand that your local school board, look what's happening in Brighton with that bond.
Right.
That's huge.
Yep.
It's a $156 million bond.
That's huge.
So yeah, I mean, you're worried about who's going to be your state rep, and because he and 109 others may vote for something, a school board, boom, just like that.
Yep.
And they control that stuff. So when you understand the issues, you tend to want to get involved. Now I don't need to involve you. You'll figure out a way.
The passion burns.
Yes.
Now you want to be involved.
Yes. So Sharon and Marcia and Connie all get together. They do a great job of educating everybody.
Yep.
And so those people start coming to our events. Those people start coming to our EC meetings. And by the way, our executive committee meetings are open to any Republican.
Okay.
You don't have to be a member, and you don't have to be, if you're a Democrat and you're a known Democrat, you're going to get bounced. But if you're a Republican, whether you've joined or whether you're a delegate or whatever, you can come.
Right.
And we have, you can't participate in the first 15 or 20 minutes. I have the official meeting is for voting issues only, and I have it at 7 till about 7:20. Once we're done voting, I close the meeting, and now it's just open Republican stuff. And we have a format, but I do a mini training. I explain something. I explain it, the behind the scenes issue about, how the government works, or how elections work, or how whatever. Or what is a lobbyist? I brought a lobbyist in.
Right.
Tell everybody what everybody now knows what a lobbyist does. So
really
we have a little
interesting.
bit of that, and then we always have legislative updates. We have candidates come in and kind of explain themselves,
Yep.
what they're doing, or and we have some real badass electeds.
Yeah.
Jason Wolford, who's rocking it out. He was named, the freshman of the year legislator. And we got Ann Bolin, who is the appropriations chair. And most people, I had to do a
Cutting that
training on
budget.
what that was. They
Yeah.
don't understand. That's like the number 3 person in the House.
Yeah, that's
Or,
amazing.
or number 2, you got the speaker, and you got the, she's the one that controls the whole budget.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
when we came to a meeting, we heard her talk about cutting the budget and doing those types of
yes,
things.
It was really
she's
cool.
there to explain that stuff. Most counties don't get that. So
Right. Forgot where I was going.
So I think I was trying to explain like what the delegates, it's that entry level that makes the decision. It's they who pick the leadership for the county party. It's they who pick the leadership for the state, and it's they who pick the Secretary of State and Attorney General candidate. So it's you don't have to spend hours and hours. The more you find out, I think the more you learn, the more.
Yeah.
But I also do trainings on different things. I try to offer. Whether it's conflict resolution or political communications, what never to say, that kind of stuff, how to keep yourself on hot water.
And what date was that at the Victory Center?
Which one? Oh, the precinct delegate roundup is April 30th. It's also on the party. It's on the Livingston County Facebook page if you want to bring it up or find it.
We'll post
the
link to that.
Address to the Victory Center is the
7789 East M36.
Yep, and it's Whitmore Lake.
Right. It's really Hamburg.
Yeah,
It's Hamburg, but it's a Whitmore Lake mailing address, so it's not like it's way over there on by the Whitmore Lake area.
Right.
It's right down the street from the Hamburg pub.
Yeah.
We can post a link to it in the comments too. So
Okay.
if somebody is
Mhm.
just scratching
Mhm.
the surface or gets an idea from this podcast
Sure.
that they want to get involved, they know 2 things: the
Mhm.
precinct delegate information, but then also when the general membership meetings are.
Sure. First
Yeah.
Thursday of the month. They're at Remax
Okay.
between Hull and Brighton, 7:00. You're
Never
welcome to come.
Never heard of it. What was it?
Yeah. Competitor. So yes, so we have a website, Livingston Republicans with an S.com.
Right.
You can find, we have a big our big Lincoln Day dinners coming up on May 5th.
That's right.
It's $100 a person, and it's on Cinco de Mayo. So what else could we do but a big old Mexican buffet? So we have
Right.
that.
That sounds
We have
good.
the Attorney General candidate coming. We have some gubernatorial candidates coming. We have
Oh, wow.
Judge Michael Warren, who is he is a candidate for the state Supreme Court, but he's also an author, and he's kind of a historian, and he's the one that puts on Patriot Week. I don't know if you're familiar with
Not
that,
at all.
but he will show up in his colonial garb,
Oh, no
and he
kidding.
just wrote another book that just got. I've been waiting for this thing for 2 years.
Yep.
But we're celebrating, this year's theme is the 250th, America's 250th birthday, right? So he wrote, it's called The Definitive Guide to the Declaration of Independence, and it's a line by line analysis of the Declaration of Independence.
No kidding.
I know that is not
That's so
something
cool.
I'm not a reader of that sort of thing, but
Yep.
Jay is. and
Oh, I'm sure.
So I'm going to get, and he's going to be selling those and signing them.
Okay.
So
Very
his new
cool.
book. So
So if somebody just wanted to scratch the surface, get to know some of these people that are in these
Yes.
positions, you can certainly come to the Lincoln Day dinner.
absolutely,
And
we'll
meet,
make.
talk to,
Yep.
chew out,
Yep.
state your opinion, shake hands.
No, you're not
get a
chewing anybody. Do
selfie.
not come to my dinner and chew anybody out. I'll give you an email address and
All
you can
right.
chew them out there.
Well, it
but-
costs $100.
yeah,
so,
yeah.
You, know,
You want to
get
pay
what
someone
you pay for.
$100 to chew somebody out and then get removed? Go by all means. But yeah, no refunds.
Probably not the place to do that.
No,
as a Legion.
it's I mean, we always welcome differing opinions.
Sure.
We're pretty.
Yeah.
We try to convince. Back to my statement with Jay, we try to use logic versus volume to convince. And
Yep.
we don't always make it that way, but our dinners are fun, and they're fantastic. You wear red, white, and blue on this one.
Yeah.
We had a cowboy one last fall. That one
saw
was
the
the party
pictures.
of all
Yep.
parties.
I
yeah,
saw
so,
the pictures.
yep.
And so I think moving into the last thing, I gotta ask:
Sure,
do they use bunny seasoning for the food at the convention?
I do. At the convention?
Yeah.
No, we don't have food at the convention.
Or
Are you talking
at
about the
the
dinners?
Lincoln dinner.
Yeah, the last Republican Day when we had chicken with bunny seasoning on it, and then I had what I call, this is the big thing. The bunny seasoning is football dip.
Okay.
And
yeah.
everybody, I want Doug Lloyd at something. I just tell him there'll be football dip. He'll go. Brian Nignowski, same way. There'll be football dip. I'll send you home with the rest. I'm there. Okay.
Right.
So it's a seasoning packet. For those of you who don't know, I have this holy grail of a seasoning blend that you put on anything, in any pasta dish, any meat, anything, soups, stews, whatever, gravies.
So, guys, when we originally introduced Deb, we said also that she's an entrepreneur, and that brings us into the bunny seasoning. In fact, I think Jacob's got your website up.
Yeah,
we
I've
could
pulled
probably
it up.
take a look at that.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
And so they, you can ship locally now too, right?
I can ship anywhere in Michigan. The laws changed. It used to be I'd have to go to do a craft show, and I'd have to hand you the packet. I could not mail it,
Right.
which crippled, but then again, that's if you're in a cottage license. It just means I don't have to go get a big license and inspections.
Yep.
And only certain foods are allowed to do that. I could not cook food and sell it that way.
Right.
You have to have a license for that. But
Okay.
herbs are such a low risk of any kind of issues that dried herbs.
Yep.
I don't sell fresh things. I don't cook them. So it is, they allow herbs and certain other things, spices and things, that you don't have to have a license, as long as, and for the longest time, I'd have to sell these things at craft shows and things, but I
Yeah.
have to be local, because it's your return business that you're doing it for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Get 'em hooked.
there's no point in going to Midland. Where
Right.
would they ever get a second one?
Right.
So now, because I can ship anywhere within Michigan, I can go anywhere.
So I've called you before, and you said, "Oh, I'm working on spices and stuff."
Mhm.
What brought you to this place where
Oh,
you're
that's
like,
a
you
good
know
que
what?
that's a very
I'm
good
going to make
question.
a seasoning and
Yeah,
we're going to call
one
it
day,
bunnies.
one to call, but well, first of all, my nickname's Bunny. Jay
Okay.
calls me Bunny. My kids call me Bunny. My grandkids call me Bunny. The only one that doesn't calls me Deb is outside my family. I'm Bunny
Okay.
at home.
All right.
And because I'm Bunny, people think I like bunnies, so they get me little bunnies. So I got little bunnies everywhere. Okay, that's fine. But about 25 years ago, I wanted a seasoning, and I found myself using the same damn things every
Lawry's
single time.
seasoning
Yeah,
salt.
bringing out there,
Yeah.
bringing out garlic powder, bringing
Garlic.
out onion powder,
Yep.
bringing out paprika, whatever. Always the same stuff.
Yeah.
And I tried Mrs. Dash. I thought this is a great answer if this works.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But I had to add other
used
stuff
it.
to it to make it work.
Yeah.
And it tasted pretty good. And one day I was out of Mrs. Dash, and I thought, I think I could probably make a Mrs. Dash. So I get this bowl.
Yep.
And I dump about 25 things into this bowl. And
Right.
I called my son, Corey, who's a very good cook. And I said, try some of this stuff. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And I put some on. Oh, I taste pepper. I taste pepper too. Okay. Everything in the bowl, back in the bowl except pepper.
Right.
Try it now. Oh, I taste celery now. Oh, cumin. Ew. Everything but
yeah.
celery and cumin. So now eventually my bowl turns into a 5-gallon bucket.
Right.
Which turns that into a clear, like a trash bag,
Yep.
big clear trash bag,
Oh,
and
sure.
where I would have to tie it and like mush it to mix it. But it finally worked.
Yep.
And I had this ginormous bucket or whatever I had of it. And so that would last me 2 or 3 years. And my kids called it bunny seasoning,
Yeah.
bunny's seasoning, bunny
Right.
seasoning. So, okay, bunny seasoning it is. And I would give it away to friends and I'd give it away to family. And everybody flipped over it all the time.
Yep.
And I'd have to make a new batch maybe every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And my kids were always, Mom, you got to monetize this. Mom, you got to monetize this. Oh my God. I says, I don't know how to I can't even make it into a bowl, much less a little individual packet.
Right.
So Mom, you got to, everybody loves this stuff. So about 6 years ago, I made the commitment. All right, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
So I got a notebook and I
Okay.
wrote down the date and I wrote down the list of ingredients, all 24, 25 or whatever it is. And then I put what I thought ought to go like into one packet and I mixed it. Oh, that was terrible. So that was in black pen. So
Okay.
then in blue next to it,
Right.
I wrote some changes.
The next recipe.
Okay, the next recipe.
Yep.
No, that's not right either. And I'd write my little notes what tasted bad.
Yep.
The next one would be red,
Yeah.
in red. Okay, when that one went bad, I flip a page back to black.
Right.
I have a notebook full. I have 1,100 different ways that you
You're
don't
kidding.
make bunny seasonings. It took me 4.5 years
Wow.
to do it. Now, I wasn't doing it every single day,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was spending enough time, and I almost quit so many times. I was so frustrated.
Yep.
Why can I not do this? And what ended up flipping it for me, as I was getting close, it was good, but it just wasn't there. And then one day, I remember my son telling me what I really liked about the seasoning was when he grilled, like the little flakes would char.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
thinking, because it will pop and leave a
Yep.
flavor. And I remember thinking that, and I looked at my stuff and I thought, well, that might be a problem. You got mostly powder in there, because I was buying powder because it
Right.
would go farther.
Yeah.
Well, there's no flakes in there.
No. Like
So
freeze-dried
everything
onion.
I could, change, garlic you can, onion powder you can't, but you
Right.
can basil from powder to flake,
Sure.
all these things. So I got rid of all my powders, brought in that was an investment,
Yeah.
all my new flakes, and then tried again. And as soon as I did that, it was totally different flavor. And one day it was like, okay, I like this one. And I sent it to my son and my daughter-in-law, and I said, this is it. I'm tired of this. I'm going with this one. It's a good one.
Right.
And I get this call a little later on that night, and it's not from my son, it's from my daughter-in-law. And I thought, oh.
Uh-oh.
And she says, Bunny, I just have to tell you, it's good. I could eat this. I'd be okay. She said, but your seasoning, when it's the right seasoning, it gives you a kick in the mouth that makes you have another bite.
Right.
Jake is nodding. He's
Yeah.
had it. He knows that. He knows
Yeah,
that flavor.
We both had it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is that kick.
Yep.
And I knew what she was talking about. I'm like, oh. And I said, you're right. So I went back and 2 more times and I sent it to her again. And she wrote back and said, this is the best batch ever. And I'm like, what?
That's
But
awesome.
4.5 years.
Right.
So then I came to, designing the logo, getting the packaging, figuring out, when I was trying to sell it by word of mouth.
Right.
And, that was going okay. And then my same daughter-in-law, says, hey, I run a craft show every Thanksgiving. This was like
I'll
September,
sell
and
it
she
there.
says, why don't you try selling it there? She goes, I'll give you a table right by the kitchen so you can be close. And
Yeah.
and so she and my son take me to breakfast, and they give me they're telling me now, you're gonna need this, you're gonna need this, I'm thinking, whoa, you guys have invested this. And I'm
Right.
like trying to write all this stuff down. You need to get a tablecloth, you need to get you need to have this money, you have to do this.
Right.
And I sold like crazy.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was my first one. I think I walked out of there with like $1,000. And I'm
Nice.
only selling little $10
Little-
packets.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was my first one. And so I went back the next year,
Yeah.
this last November, the same one. And I had clearly the busiest table in the whole, every time I go, I have the busiest table
Right.
because I've expanded from that original seasoning
Yeah.
to a chili.
We've
And
had it. The
that
white chicken
that
chili
white
pack.
chicken
Yep.
chili.
Oh, that's good stuff.
When I practiced it,
Yep.
I tested it out. I entered a chili contest with 13 chilies.
Yeah.
I won first, second, and third place. Only 3 other votes for all the other chilies combined. So, as a matter of
That's
fact,
awesome.
our undersheriff, Jason Plus,
Yeah.
he tasted it at a craft show one time, and he said, "I'm going to buy some of that." He's, "I'm going to enter it in the sheriff department and check off the." He tells me later, he goes, "By the way, I won that out of your chili." So anyway,
That's awesome.
so I know like 3 people know that have won chili cook-offs with that
Right.
chili. It's really good.
That
So-
is cool.
But
What a
and then
neat
I also
story.
make a seasonally at the October, November, December. I sell a turkey. It's the turkey rub for before you bake your
okay.
turkey.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, you will have the best turkey, the best stuffing, and the best gravy you have
Yep.
ever had in your life. And then I make soup out of that carcass, which
Right.
makes the best soup.
Yep.
So anyway, now I'm
So-
this close.
The big question is bag or no bag?
Bag or no bag? What, turkey?
Yeah.
No bag.
No bag?
No, what I
Yes!
found,
No,
what
we
I
don't.
do, no, I take, I have just started doing this. What I do is I take the turkey packet mix,
Yep.
and you mix it with either softened butter or like olive oil.
Yeah.
Most of the time I use olive oil, but butter too.
I like
And I
butter.
mix that, and I rub that inside under the skin, in the
Yep.
cavity, whatever.
Right.
Last year, I took not parchment paper, what's that stuff? Cheesecloth.
Okay.
And you butter the bejesus
Yep,
with
right.
the butter and the seasoning. You butter the bejesus out of the turkey.
Yep.
Lay the cheesecloth on, and then pat the butter on top
Right.
of that.
Did it
Wow.
held better and
Oh yeah,
tasted
no,
good?
throw the bag away. You could go
Right.
bagless forever. Now that was the juiciest turkey I've ever had, and
Nice.
delicious.
That's
So,
awesome.
but I'm this close to the next product, and that will be a pasta
Oh,
sauce, like a
there
red
we go.
sauce,
Oh,
pasta like a
yeah.
marinara.
right.
I'm this close. I've almost got it. What I want to basically do is make something where you can open up a can of crushed tomatoes, do 2 scoops, and
Yep.
you've got pasta sauce. There
Yeah.
it is. Add paste if you want it.
Is there sugar in it?
Huh? I do put sugar in it, but I can make some without, like, I can make the bunny seasoning. I can have a salt-free version if you want, or
Okay.
I can do a sugar-free, and I can do one with a sugar substitute too for people
Nice.
that don't want sugar. But
So if somebody was entering a chili contest, where would they get your seasoning? at?
yeah, they could go on to the Facebook page, Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning,
All right.
and you can instant message me, and I'll get it to you.
All right. Delivery pickup.
Matter of fact, I'm sitting here. My phone went off of a lady that was ordering something. So
It wants
yeah,
some.
I if I'm out and about, I'll deliver. But lots of times, I just I have a little table on my porch that has a little drawer. Put the bag on the table, put the money in the drawer, walk
Yep.
away. That's a on your other thing.
So
You cheat me, you don't get any more. That's the worst thing that could happen.
then you're out.
That's
Yeah.
right. No more for you.
So here's a little rapid fire. What's the biggest issue? What are we facing this November? What is the biggest issue?
Completely flipping over the entire legislature. We've got to have a Republican Secretary of State and Attorney General. We got to have a Republican governor. We have to have a Republican majority in the Senate, and we have to have a majority in the House.
Okay.
Biggest by far issue
What's the biggest misconception?
that we are racist, homophobic, hate people.
Right.
That we don't believe in helping kids or children or something is the stupidest crap I've ever heard.
Right. Yeah. It's sold
We're
all
not
the
at
time.
all. Nothing like that.
If you could make one change today just by shaking a magic wand, what would it be?
Governor.
Governor?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess within my county, within my role, I would love to develop an understanding of what we do and why we do it. It's that core republicanism, and not that, you can be a I mean, Republicans, I told you the core Republicans, and then there's the core Democrat stuff.
Yeah.
Things like guns or right to life or all that other stuff, those are fringe issues. You can
Right.
be a pro-life Democrat.
Sure.
You can be a pro-choice Republican.
Yep.
They tend to be that lines, but we have Republicans that don't like guns. Okay, we have Democrats that do. Okay.
Right. Yep.
So it's not that those are all, social issues and fringe issues. So I would like it understood what we are and who we are and what we're not.
Yeah.
We could get, I mean, that would, I just like the fear, because, you get the media and you get what I call the crazies.
Yep.
That scream the stuff that they scream, and the lies. And I'd love to watch everybody's nose that grew every time they lied about Trump, on
Right.
Facebook.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
yes.
So then, honesty in politics.
I think transparency, Republicans are all for transparency.
Yep.
And I think that for the most part, social media has helped with that a great deal,
For
because
sure.
it used to be that they did something, by the time anybody found out about it, then we got it out, then got the word out,
Yep.
that politician was down the road.
Right.
And now things with instant news and instant social media, and everybody's got a camera on their phone.
Yep.
It's really hard. I think where dishonesty happens more than not would be your local issues, your townships and things like that, because they're often not paid attention to.
I think you're right.
So
We've had our own personal experience with that, for one, and then for two, we monitor. You can pull up, the city of Howell meeting, or the Howell Township meeting, or the Marion Township meeting. You can watch the meeting from a distance. You can pull up the agendas. You can see what was talked about in the notes. The county commissioners meeting that we
Yep.
just pulled up, that's all on record.
that's right.
So it's hard to hide now, and it's hard to flip-flop on a policy when you've made a statement, because you're now on record.
Well, when Jay ran for commissioner, when the district, when they had the redistricting, and he went from Howell, Cohocton, and Howell Township to Howell City and Marion.
Yep.
He was challenged by the former mayor of Howell.
Okay.
And the former mayor of Howell, he was talking about being a conservative.
Yep.
And my husband, in a advertisement compared the two of them as the tax cutter and the tax raiser.
Yeah.
And the former mayor took umbrage at this, and went to put this big long interview and a big long letter to Howell City.
Yep.
Or to the WHMI about how he was not a tax raiser, and he was not this. And when my husband, who is a saver,
Yes.
understand this, you ever want to go at Jay,
Right.
he has saved everything about everybody ever.
Right.
My husband went right down to his files, pulled out 2 letters signed by that former mayor,
Right.
asking to raise taxes and telling people that seniors could lose their home if they didn't support it. So our answer was,
Gotcha.
there it is. There it is. So it was, if you're not transparent, you're going to get caught. So
Yeah.
don't, if you're in politics, zip it. Don't lie. Just admit what happened and talk about it. But
Right.
because somebody is going to pull it up
Somebody's
and shove
gonna
it down
get
your
you.
throat.
Yeah, for sure. So then, lastly, is our local media.
Oh boy.
Are they pretty supportive of
No.
the Republican
No,
Party?
No, we have, let's dig into it a little bit. You got the Livingston County Press that tends to lean left. We send stuff all the time, or, I have people send stuff all the time. More often than not, it doesn't get on there. It doesn't get printed. Generally, when they do a piece, they will print somewhat of the Republican side, but good example was maybe a year ago, Wes Nakagiri went to the Howell Theater to watch this.
Yeah. I remember.
This former KKK guy talk about
Jason Barker.
Yeah, yes. And he went there to try, and they wouldn't let him in.
Yep.
And so Wes just said, why? And he said, well, because we're full. and he looks online and it says, "Come on down. We have lots of empty seats." And so they just said, "No, we're not letting you in."
Yeah.
And Wes just said, "Okay, fine." And he went down to Cleary, and they reported out that Wes was screaming at them.
Right.
And it was like, I've known Wes for years, and I've seen Wes really hot. Wes never raises his voice ever.
Right.
Maria Stewart over at the Livingston Post, wildly Democrat, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I'm, all putting it out there. I like Maria. Maria and I, once in a while, we'll go have coffee, and
I have friends
she
like
talks
that.
when she talks about Republicans. She calls them your people. And, when I talk about Democrats, I call them tell them her people. So we have a joke about that. But I mean, I like Maria. I've known Maria a long time, and so but we could not be any different politically. She did a big long rag out about the commissioners because they wanted to invest in different media sources because they implied she was unfair.
Right.
And of course she took it to an extreme and
really
read that, really ripped into him.
Got the feelings going.
But she's talking, and I'm thinking to myself, you just made your point, because she's going off and talking about I don't remember what she called them. We should call them our true loves or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But it was something like that. But she said, because we took, you shouldn't like us because we took umbrage at your commissioner, screaming or yelling at Democrats that they shouldn't live there anymore. Ding, 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 ding.
Right.
There it is.
Yep.
That was Nick Fiani.
Yep.
There was a million witnesses to that.
Yeah.
Nick doesn't yell.
Nick
he doesn't
is
scream.
Such a soft-spoken
He was, and what happened was Judy Dobbemeyer was ragging on somebody about how terrible it is to live here because of the Republicans and this and this and this and this. And Nick just looks at her and goes, "Then why do you live here?
Right. Yeah.
Why don't you, if you hate it, if you hate all this stuff, why don't you go somewhere else?" But he didn't yell at her or scream at her.
County's that way.
He's, here it is. They're saying they want media that balances, and at the same time, this is an outright untruth.
Right.
He never raised his voice. There were so many witnesses that it wasn't funny.
Well,
so that's what I'm saying. So the media, I don't think, and WHMI supposedly got a new guy. I talked to the new guy, and he said, "Look, I'm not John King. I'm just here to report the news."
Yeah.
And he said, "Can't you tell the difference?" And I said, "To be honest with you, I would John King when that." I haven't listened since John King was there. I don't listen anymore.
Yep.
I don't want it. I don't want that in my life.
And it's it just doesn't seem to balance with me when you're looking to have advertisers in a conservative area, conservative business people who are going to pay the advertising fees for these media outlets, and yet you despise everything that they stand for. It just
and then they complain when the advertisers complain.
Right.
In the case in point, you were talking about Roger, the Brighton School Board being on WHMI.
Yeah.
Where was John Connolly on WHMI?
Right.
Why wasn't that side brought out?
Yeah.
Why was it only the side with the bond? So I will tell you, it's that stuff that birthed the Right Side podcast.
Right.
That's why we exist. It's to allow
the other voice to come out and
I
have
used
it
to go to
balanced.
commission meetings. I go to a lot of commission meetings, and I used to, I would see them vote, say to give, let's say the veterans, say $60,000 for something. Okay. Next commission meeting 2 weeks later, in the early in the night, call a public, you get one of the frequent flyer Democrats that come and yell at everything they're doing.
I've been yelled at by
Yes. They yell and they say, "Well, we find it disgusting that you only give $6,000 to the veterans when they need it so much." And of course, the commissioners can't respond till the end.
Right.
So they don't say anything. So that person, WHMI is there, they leave.
Yep.
Yeah, they halfway through they leave. So by the time it's explained, it's not 6, it's 6,000. The news the next day as well, constituents upset with the low amount they gave to the veterans. That's why I started because I bring those people out and say, all right, what really happened? Let's talk about the right side. What really happened? So
and hopefully our podcast does a lot of the same thing, that there's a little more balance to it.
Yep. Just I don't pretend to be fair and balanced. The right side. It is the Republican side of things.
Right.
I don't feel like I need to balance it because there's enough people out there putting out the dumb side. But we just. I believe in being truthful. I believe in being honest. I believe in getting all the facts out there, but I want all the facts The Democrats have their own avenues to get their facts out. So we're just going to correct what we know to be wrong.
Right on. So to close up, what should residents expect from leadership of the Republican Party in Livingston County, and why should they trust the party?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. Again, the Republicans Party's purpose is to elect Republicans.
Okay.
Okay. It is to elect them and then support them once they're in office. So that is what they can expect from them right there. If we are if we're secretly supporting a Democrat, we're doing it wrong. So they should know that the people we send out our flyers for, things, those are the people that we know to be Republican members, that we know to be Republicans. So pay attention to that. I mean, for me, and I'm going to make a last ditch effort, anybody watching this anywhere in the county, we need school board members.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look what's going on with these bonds and things. And we need, especially in Heartland, I cannot say how important that is. That's a loony bin over there.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the superintendent yelling at people and,
Right.
doing things underhanded, canceling meetings, not telling people why. You got boys and girls bathrooms over there. I mean, you got all kinds of issues over there. Something all the time.
Those meetings are online also.
Yes.
All of the school board meetings generally are recorded and put online.
Yep.
If you're interested, boy, get on and take a look. And then if you get fired up, go get involved.
Yes, you can. I mean, and I'll tell you something. People don't understand. They think, oh, what's the difference? It's corrupt anyway. No,
Right.
You're speaking. And this is the other thing we're good at. We're here to do. We're not, we go and get Republicans elected and keep them in office, but we also train you how to use your voice.
Yes.
So we're not just saying get out and say something. If you want to get involved, anybody watching this, they want to get involved, they want to say something, they want to know what to do, reach out.
Yeah.
chair@livingstonrepublicans.com. That is my email. I am very approachable and I'm very responsive. I'm watching that. Unless I'm on this podcast, I'm dying to pick up my phone and respond. But I am very responsive. chair@livingstonrepublicans, one word with an S, republicans.com.
All right.
And get a hold of me. I will walk you through opportunities. I will walk you through, we have fun events. Tomorrow night, we have our Fourth Thursday dinner. We're going to meet over at Jonah's over on the old Beeline on D19. We have a dinner once a month. We have a breakfast once a month. We have social stuff. We have, we have get involved stuff. We have stuff the bags days. We have training days.
Yep.
We are going to be putting, my last thing I'm going to say is I had a podcast guest by the name of Lance Griffin, who is the marketing director for 10X Votes. 10X Votes is a free app that rather than, knocking doors, people worry about knocking doors because they don't want to go to someone's house they don't know. They don't want to get out there and do this.
Right.
10X Votes identifies Republicans that don't vote often.
Oh, okay.
And it's a map. You can look up whoever you know. You can look at your map. You can look in your neighborhood. And if every single person called 10 people they knew, and the only thing I have to do is write the script, so it's coming. But it's basically, hey, we're reaching out to people to encourage them to vote. And can I send you a link? And you can text them this link or whatever. Send you a link to sign up for an automatic ballot. You can get a mail-in ballot every single vote. You never have to think about it. And there's your vote. And if we can get Republicans to do that, the ones that hardly vote or don't vote often, we win every time.
Oh, no kidding.
So, and this is a free app. And it just identifies Republicans for people to contact. So I have made it my mission to create a PowerPoint for this. So every other Sunday, starting in a couple of Sundays, I'm going to be offering, and you'll be able to see this on the podcast or on the website. I'm going to be offering a Zoom meeting for anyone in the state. You want to learn how to do this? It's a 25 minute training. And I'll teach you how to do it, and it'll be easy. And then you can reach out to people. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to knock on a door.
Right.
These are people you know already.
Just call the 10 people
all you do is send them a text. Here's a link. Could you sign up for this? Because we really need your vote this year. Real simple.
That's how it works. That's how it works. That's amazing. Well, we appreciate you coming on today.
I'm glad you asked me. I'm really happy to see that you guys are doing this.
Thanks.
We appreciate you. Buy Bunny's seasoning.
That's right.
Even if you're a Democrat, I promise it won't turn you Republican. Maybe.
I don't know. Well, yes.
So
So
thanks again.
thank
look
you.
forward to
Thank
putting
you.
it
It's
out
my
there.
pleasure.
All right.